Meeting will come to order. Score, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Lamar.
Here.
Ms. Conlon.
Here.
Ms. Zimmerman.
Present.
Ms. Williams.
Present.
Dr. Diop.
Present. Thank you. If you will, all rise. We will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Biox,
Yes, sir.
will you lead us, please?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. All right, so we'll start off tonight with a special presentation. So I will turn this over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first presentation tonight is an exciting presentation. It's been years in the making, and we have a special guest here to make the presentation to us. If I could have Jerem from Apple please come up to the microphone. Jerem is with Apple, and we as a district have been working with Apple, and then in turn, Jerem and some of the people on his team for the last 4 years. And over these years, he's worked with our teachers, worked with our staff, helped guide us, and with that, our middle school has won a great honor. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you, Jerem.
Thank you, Superintendent Mason. Chairman Benjamin, members of the board, thank you so much for having me in this evening. These are the times that it's just an absolute honor and pleasure to be able to come and share some of the great work that you all are doing it just happens to be with some of our products. And so it's exciting to be here tonight and to be able to recognize Arlington Middle School. So at Apple, we have a program that's called Apple Distinguished Schools. There are less than 500 Apple Distinguished Schools, not just in the nation, but across the world. It's a very high bar. It takes a lot of work to put together an application that goes through the process. And, right, Ashley? Yes. And it's an award that's given once a school has been in a one-to-one program for at least 2 years. And there are a couple of other requirements that need to be met. It's an award that's given for what we see as some of the most innovative schools in the world. And to think about Arlington Middle School here in Arlington Community Schools as being in that group, in that cohort, is just absolutely phenomenal. These are schools that view learners as creators. They view teachers as the ones who design conditions for creators. And it leads to just incredible products that your students here in Arlington are building. So tonight, with that said, it is an absolute honor to be able to recognize Arlington Middle School as an Apple Distinguished School for the years of 2019 through 2021. So if we can have everybody who's associated with Arlington Middle stand for a second. I'm going to have you come up in just a moment, but let's have you all stand. We have Principal Dr. Clark here. We have Ashley Burns, who helped lead the team that put together the application process, and incredible teachers that represent your middle school, Dr. Clark, that are doing the hard work on the ground, that are helping open up opportunities for kids. So let's give them a round of applause. And if you all have a seat for just a moment, and then we're going to come up here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Russell to share just a little bit more context with a video that showcases and highlights Arlington Middle School.
We have a video to share.
Yeah. So you can see that while a tool like iPad opens up all kinds of incredible possibilities for kids, what it really comes down to, the reason why these opportunities are now present at Arlington Middle School and in other campuses in your district, is not just the device. It's really the teachers that create the environment for kids to be able to do this kind of thing. And so, Dr. Clark, I'm going to invite you up front, if you would. Give you a second to share a few words, and then we're going to do a quick little recognition photo.
First, I would like to thank the Board of Education because I heard earlier Ms. Mason reflecting with Jerem as well as Mr. Benjamin about how this first started at Arlington Middle School and how we have progressed to the stage we are at today. And that could not have started without Ms. Mason's vision and the Board of Education supporting, because it is a large funding for that. So I do appreciate you continue to fund that for us so that we can move our students. And I really look at it as we're preparing them for their future, and that is what's important. So I do appreciate that. Next, the teachers. The teachers have had to spend hours learning how to integrate this technology. It takes patience. And we have teachers that are in their first 3 years of teaching and teachers that have been in it 20 plus, 25 plus years. And I have to commend them because what they have done is they've embraced the technology. They haven't said, I'm not doing it, you know, and when one person was apprehensive on their team, they held that person's hand and they said, you can do it, I'm going to help you, we're going to get there. And I really appreciate it because Arlington Middle School, they are a true family. They'll stick together and they'll help each other. And then Miss Burns, she has been a tremendous help in helping those teachers with it as well. There is people at central office that support that. We have Mr. Winkler, Mr. Overby, Mr. Adam Howe. All of them come to our rescue because, you know, when you're using technology, especially as an educator, you don't want to worry about why that thing isn't working. Just fix it. Get it working, Mr. Overby, now. So he's great, and he's trained Mr. Howell, so I do appreciate, I call it the behind the scenes to keep the technology moving forward. So there's so many people. I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but it's taken a true team to get us here today, and I appreciate that.
It absolutely takes a village, and we'd like to invite those in that village at Arlington Middle to come on up. If you guys would come up front.
While they're coming up, I do also want to say all of our teachers in our district have become Apple certified, but the middle school was the first school for 100% of their teachers to become Apple certified.
Absolutely. So. Love it. So, Dr. Clark, on behalf of Apple and those of you representing Arlington Middle School on behalf of Apple, it's my honor and privilege to present to you guys the award and recognition of Apple Distinguished School.
Thank you.
It's really awesome.
And Chairman Benjamin and Superintendent Mason, if you would oblige us, we'd love to have a quick recognition photo opportunity. Sure. We've got to unfurl a banner, though, in order for that to happen. So, Dr. Clark assured that we had some good banner folders that were going out.
Well, we got to flip it.
And if you have somebody who can get the banner outside up.
If you can on the sides, let's all try to squeeze in.
Yep, we can get a banner folder over here. Perfect.
And hold banner up. There we go. All right, 1, 2, 3. And always have a backup. Hold on. We'll use an Apple iPhone on this.
I just want to echo a big thank you to the teachers. The middle school really set the whole district on the path to one-to-one. They, Dr. Clark, we were looking for a school to pilot. When we were looking at going to one-to-one, Dr. Clark piloted. And I would say, Dr. Clark, I think you'd agree, your sixth grade teachers who were the first grade to start this whole thing really deserve a special thank you, because they were truly the guinea pigs and none of us really knew what we were doing. So thanks to the middle school and Dr. Clark, because they really set the whole district on the one-to-one. So I want to thank you and your teachers as well.
Yeah, very good. Hey, so that is really a cool thing and a really cool distinction that we get to be honored in, and so thank you for letting us participate in that today. I think one of the coolest things that we get to do as a board is recognize grant tenure for teachers, and that also happens tonight. So that's another really cool thing in the same meeting. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna turn that over to the superintendent as well to talk about recognizing our tenured teachers.
Yes, as the board knows, in our last meeting, we approved the recommendations for tenure, and then tonight you'll be recognizing and approving one other, but we are here to honor those teachers tonight. And so what I would like to do, it's a huge accomplishment. It's something that has been made more difficult over the last 5 or 6 years to not only get tenure, but also to continue to carry tenure. And so it's a huge honor. And so we have a certificate, a little gift for each of you on behalf of the school board, saying thank you, and to reward you for the work that you've done, and also on behalf of the board to say we're awfully glad that you're here with us in ACS. So with that, I will come down. Mr. Mayo, will you help me? When I call your name, if you will come up. First we have from Arlington Elementary, Ms. Kimberly Doyle. Inside you have your certificate and a letter from me. Okay, I think you're going to get the picture. And Ms. Jones. Ms. Jones, just get out of the way, Kyle. Thank you. Next from Arlington Elementary, we have Sarah Neal. From Arlington High School, Amy Balducci. Join my librarians. Thank you. Catherine Edson. Congratulations. Miss Leanne Hinkle. Good, stay in. Miss Courtney McNabb. Melissa Jenkins. She wasn't able to make it? Okay. Mr. Russell Waits. We're still with Arlington High School, Miss Emily Warhurst. Miss Charlotte Contier from Arlington Middle School. Miss Nancy Discerny from Arlington Middle. Thank you. We have another librarian from Arlington Middle, Miss Robin Finley. Also from Arlington Middle, Miss Letitia King. And last from Arlington Middle, Miss Cody Price. You'll get your picture taken with us, smile. I bet you're used to get your pictures taken. Donaldson Elementary, Miss Laura Scruggs. Also from Donaldson Elementary, Mr. Gregory Sims. You got the veins in our eye, didn't you? You're welcome, you're welcome. Thank you. And last but not least, Ms. Tina Bernheim. If I could have all of our newly tenured teachers, please stand up for one more round of applause.
Yes, yes. Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations again. Hey, so we'll give you a time. You're more than welcome to stay. We'll give you a break to slip out if you want to slip out.
No, this guy has to stay.
That's true. If he does need to stay. Oh yeah, if you just receive, if you're the teacher, one of the tenured teachers here, if you'll go out in the foyer too, we want to get a few more pictures of you guys together.
Bunch of pictures.
They probably won't come back either.
Probably not. Yeah. You want us to wait on you to start?
Yeah, I think there's one more, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, is there one more?
I think so.
Okay. Hey, there's can I have your attention? I think there's one more. Miss Jenkins is here, so we just want to take a minute to recognize Miss Jenkins.
Come here, Miss Jenkins.
Come on.
Come on in, Miss Jenkins.
Oh, bless her.
Arlington High School.
Was she late?
Congratulations.
Look at him.
All right, we'll move ahead. Yeah, he's great. He needs to come every week. You know?
He's terrific.
That's right. So we'll move on to citizens' comments. Ms. Gore, any citizens' comments? None. Okay. Then we will move ahead to our approval of agenda. So do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any opposed? Any comments? Sorry, I'm moving ahead. No comments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. The ayes have it and the motion passes. We will move ahead to reports. Chairman's report, I do have a few things that I want to talk about. Just a reminder to the board, this Saturday from 8 to noon, we will be doing our board retreat here. Tammy Grissom from TSBA will be here along with the superintendent for us to do a few things together. You should have received an agenda already on what that looks like for Saturday. So really excited about that. Really excited about spending some time with you guys and some team building, some things, or some things that we're going to go over and review. And so I'm really looking forward to that. We will provide a light breakfast and some snacks for breakfast. We won't provide lunch because we'll dismiss around noon. But looking forward to seeing you guys. Any questions about that at all, about Saturday?
I like a light breakfast, that's good.
Light breakfast, yep. 8 a.m. start. Got all that? Okay, good. Also, I have to recognize Dr. Viox. My goodness, what a big weekend for you! It was we were all at TSBA. It was really fun to be with you guys again. By the way,
100% board attendance.
100% board attendance, which was really awesome. It was good to hang out and eat together and laugh together and learn together. And so I thought it was just a really good time for us all. And some of the staff was there, so it was a really fun time to be together. And so thank you guys for taking the time to come to that and to go and to spend your time doing that. But what a big weekend for Dr. Viox. He was recognized as a level 5 board member, which is a really big deal, huge accomplishment. And so that's one of the big deals. But on top of that, to the coup de grace, he was the school board member of the year. And so that is Would you like to say a few words, Dr. Viox?
So
I'm certain you would.
the whole thing was sort of surreal when they read off all the stuff that we have done in the last 6 years. It was just surreal. The whole thing was amazing. It was so much fun. 100% board attendance, which was really cool. But that's the thing that I guess not everybody realizes about the school board is that you sort of work as a group and as a group only. And so really without Superintendent Mason's team, all you guys sitting here, everybody on this board, nothing like that happens. I'm very proud to bring that back to Shelby County. It's been a very long time since this award has been in Shelby County. And I say we use it to all we can to highlight our amazing district. But really thanks out to everyone from the top down, teachers, administrators. There was so many nice comments on Facebook and all that stuff. And my mantra is always the same, is that this district makes it so easy to be a board member. And so for that, I thank you guys instead of, you guys have all the credit. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. One thing that came up as we were I had a chance to go to the board chairman's meeting early on, and so one of the things that they talked about was a concern that they want to really focus on is vaping in schools. And it was an interesting thing that they talked about, and I know we've heard some things and dealt with some things already. But it's something that I'd really like for us to really begin to look into and look into how we address that, because it's not anything that we've addressed specifically, and just all the ways that there's contraband that comes in. And so anyway, that was just something that stuck out to me that I just want us to think about and look about in the days and months ahead. So we'll do some things like that.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys keep up with any kind of medical news at all, but one of the students that's been injured from vaping just now had a double lung transplant, I believe last week. So if you want to see how bad this really is and what it can do to kids, look it up. Double lung transplant. That kid's never going to be the same.
My goodness.
Luckily, he didn't pass, but it's dangerous.
My goodness. Superintendent, you about to say
How
something?
old was
Yeah, we've done some videos that we've gotten out to the student body. They're actually Ms. Viax and the Coordinated School Health and Ms. Sershin through the Accountability Department. They've are doing some public announcements. They've sent flyers and newsletters home with parents, but that's not enough. And so we've got a team, Ms. Douglas and her group, they're brainstorming on what what are the things that are out there for us. Obviously, it'll be something that will be coming to the board, that, needing some funds for that, looking at probably a budget amendment, but we are looking at some things. It is truly an epidemic. It's not just in Arlington, it's all over the country. And, as good as our administrative staff is, these kids can hide these devices so easily and do it in class without anybody knowing, because they're smokeless, they don't smell, they can be this big.
Yep.
And so, I'm glad, Mr. Benjamin, that you brought that to us, and, I think that we're gonna be seeing a lot more coming out of the State Department as well.
Yeah, good.
I just forwarded that link to everybody. It's about the 17-year-old. So
Oh, good. Thank you, Dr. Viax. And then lastly, I just want to remind the board about boardsmanship as we get into this year, about really looking in places for you to continue our ongoing learning and training. There are some things coming up as the year begins. So if you just get with Jana on scheduling some things for you, that will be that'll be good. But you should have gotten a booklet on that, I think, and if not, Jana can help us with that. But make sure that you're finding a place to do some of those continuing learning. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too, on behalf of my staff, would like to congratulate Dr. Del Viox and the board as a whole. Not only did Dr. Viox win that honor, but our board was one of the few boards that had 100% membership at the convention.
Yep.
And I concur with Mr. Benjamin. It was a good time to be together and learn together. So you make us look good as a district, our school board. I have many superintendents come up to me saying, "Gosh, your whole board's here. Gosh, you guys get along so good." So thank you for that. I also want to remind the board that our next Lead Arlington meeting is coming up. That is December the 3rd, and it will be at Wright Medical. As always, we love our board members to attend. I also we had all of our schools participated in the U of M STEM called E-Day a couple weeks ago, and within that, we had 3 of our schools place. We had Arlington Middle School win first place in Flash Building, and this is in competition against all of the other schools within the surrounding areas. There's hundreds of kids and dozens of schools that participate in this event, E-Day at the University of Memphis. AES won first place for the Transportation Challenge. Wow. Arlington High School won first place for the Wall Challenge. And then Arlington High School also won 3rd place for wing design. So we were well represented. I do think that this is attributed to where the direction that our STEM program is going. And I don't know if Mr. Winkler is still here, but he is truly leading this program and is becoming known for a program across the state that people are looking at, and it's truly underneath his leadership. And the teachers they're just soaking it up. Mr. Winkler walks in the building, and everybody's anxious to learn from him. So we're really excited about the work that's being done in STEM now, K through 12. You know, we gradually were able to make sure that we had that covered at all grade levels, and this is our 2nd year for that. I'm also pleased Mr. Mayo's been keeping the board up to date on our background checks and how many we had this year. We're happy to say that they are 100% completed. And so that was quite a feat. Was that over 200, Mr. Mayo, and 230, something like that? Yeah, 237. So just phenomenal job by him and Mr. Yao. Also, you may have heard or seen on Facebook that on November 7th, once again, our middle school was involved, but also Lakeland Middle. Arlington High School entertained our 8th graders from both of the feeder schools coming in to what they call 8 to 9 day. That's step 1 in starting to transition these 8th graders to high school. And they get an opportunity to go through a circuit of about 16 different programs at the high school. That's very strategically done at this time, because they're going to be soon coming up in January, start choosing selection of courses and programs of studies, and what better way for them to actually see and witness and watching current kids in those programs. So that's phase 1. There's about a total of 4 or 5 phases as we transition these kids to high school. But I did want to let you know how successful that was. A huge undertaking for our high school staff and our central office, and then both for the 2 middle schools. The 8th grade teachers got to come with them. I don't know if any of our folks got to come. Ms. Beasley, was it a good one?
One of the best days of the year. I get to feel our kids from years past and see them being adults.
What'd you think of the program options?
Great.
Good.
They're continuing to grow, and, I think our jaws are just on the floor to see what our kids have available to them. And so kudos to the community and the board to see what the community really wants.
Thank you, Ms. Beasley. Also, you have in your packet, we've been talking about the Arlington Education Business Partnership and the raising. We are ready, we have our prospectus finished, and this is a copy, you have a copy of what that looks like. And so the members on that foundation we've assigned ourselves to certain businesses, so we will be going out over the next couple months with this document and soliciting businesses to partnership with the foundation in our school in an effort to raise $2 million. A lot of that is for our engineering and innovation program, which is our new medical device machining program that will be starting next year. Also, all the different STEM labs that we have, as well as putting in a digital scoreboard at the football field and varsity gym that will be able to conduct advertisements for the businesses that partner with us. Our kids that work on digital media in our TV studio will have the opportunity to work with these businesses for the advertisement of their businesses. So it's really going to be a win-win. So I will keep the board up to date and be glad to answer any questions, but you'll see that the board has gone through, and there's different options of naming rights for each of these. Once we have solicited interest in each of these items or areas to be named, those will come back before the board, because no naming of facilities can be done without the approval of the board. So once we get to that point, as they start coming in at each board meeting, then we'll be bringing those partners in, and then hopefully the board will be blessing for those particular, whether it's the football stadium, the gym, the new indoor athletic facility, to have naming rights for one of our business partners. Any questions about that? We're really excited. Special thank you to Tyler Hale. He worked with the Daktronics to help get this brochure out and really did the hard work on it. As you can see, it looks very nice. We have these in a bound binder for our partners that we are targeting, with their actual names like in the brochure. So let's just say it's Refuge Church, that they would see that when we go to them, they'll see that on the scoreboard. For $750,000, so you'll just pass the plate this weekend, you should be
Yep, we
good.
may have to pass it twice. But we'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's over 10 years. That's over 10
Okay,
years.
gotcha.
That's over 10 years. And lastly, and that's it, and that concludes my report.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. We will move ahead to financial report. Ms. Roberts.
Good evening. On the finance report for September 2019, we had general fund revenues of $6.2 million, expenditures of $8.7 million. And the nutrition fund, we have revenues $223,020 and expenditures of $216,317. Federal and discretionary grants fund, we have revenues of $349,957, expenditures of $350,023. CIP fund, no revenues, expenditures of $198,716. For the Interlocal Health Benefits Plan Asset Trust Report, as of September 2019, we had year-to-date revenues of $18.6 million, year-to-date expenses of $11 million, a beginning balance of $78,000, and an ending balance of $7.7 million. And that concludes the financial report.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Any questions at all? Okay. We'll move ahead to TLN report. Dr. Biot.
Okay, so most of you guys were in the class. I think maybe everybody was, that Ms. Williams moderated about things that happened in the General Assembly last year. And then several of us had the opportunity to go to Delegate Assembly, where this document was actually produced. This is the final copy of TSBA's actual legislative agenda. Everybody, I hope, had an opportunity to review our legislative agenda. It's on the consent agenda. Obviously, can be pulled if somebody wants to add or subtract something. There's crossover in several of these things. I'm gonna provide this to anyone that's interested. I know Ms. Williams took some notes on her delegate assembly pack, but this is just a easier, cleaner version. So I'm gonna give this to Ms. Gore. You guys can either get a hard copy or for me, just email it and that'd be awesome. But this is the final TSBA legislative agenda, and then you'll have the opportunity tonight to vote on our legislative agenda. And really, that sort of gets us up to speed. I did want to ask Ms. Williams about the, because she spearheaded in the past the legislative breakfast. That is legitimately one of the best events that we have. Most of us have stopped going to Day on the Hill, and a lot of people did, and so TSBA sort of reinvented Day on the Hill, and this year it's going to be different, and so I'm totally going to go. I welcome any other board members that want to go. It's going to be a legislative and leadership type of a deal as opposed to just Day on the Hill. It wasn't getting the traction that it used to get, and there are several other districts that have taken our lead and done the same thing that we've done with a legislative breakfast / dinner / lunch, or however it works. Gives you a little bit more face time with your legislature and those representatives. So it's really a nice thing for us to do. So, Ms. Williams, do we have a date on that yet this year? It's usually in January.
Have not.
Okay.
Germantown is in charge this year.
Perfect.
So I did discuss it with Miss Griffith, I believe is her name,
Okay.
that's going to be doing it this year, and
Okay.
she had not come together with a date yet. So.
Okay. I would encourage everyone to attend, as I've told everybody as loudly as I can. I think working within the legislature is really the most important thing that we do. We can talk and complain and stuff all we want up here, but if you can develop those relationships and get in with some of the lobbying, and didn't work out as good for us last year, even though
We tried.
we had some promises broken, which does happen. But I really believe it's one of the most important functions that we undertake as a board. So I will provide this to Ms. Gore, anybody that's interested. This is the TSBA one. Again, ours is in here tonight that people can pull or add to, subtract, or we can just leave it on the consent agenda, how everybody wants to do it. I'd be remiss.
It's not, it's actually not on the.
Oh, is it not?
No,
Okay,
it's not on
I'm
the
sorry, I thought it
consent
was.
agenda. No, it's just one of our business recommended items.
Okay, all right, even better, so we don't have to pull it.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Valerie Speakman and Glenda. They do a tremendous amount of work, and anybody that has the opportunity to be the TLN rep will appreciate their services as well. It's really a blessing to have someone in-house that can deal with that. Lastly, I just want to mention, because I don't know that anybody necessarily knows this, Ben Torres and Garrett Nicely actually argued 2 weeks ago, I believe, in front of the Tennessee Supreme Court on behalf of an amicus brief that Williamson County brought. So that's a really big deal. I know at least one person that's done that. But not everybody has that kind of an opportunity. The video's out there. If I get access to the link, I'm going to share it with everybody. But Williamson County literally gave up half of their time to Garrett and Ben to argue in front of the Supreme Court, and they really, by all accounts, did an amazing job. So this thing, not to be taken lightly, those guys have real jack. They always have, and now they really do, because they've been in front of the Tennessee Supreme Court. So that's a big deal. It's a huge win for public education to have those guys on staff at TSBA. So if you see them, shake their hands. They did a good job.
Do we have a date for Day on the Hill?
It should have been in the, did you guys get a calendar this weekend? It should have been in there. It's always in February sometime,
I
but.
saw it, but I forgot to write it down.
We get Ms. Gore to look it up and send it out.
But
to you.
again, it's not gonna say Day on the Hill anymore.
Didn't
It's
Yeah,
gonna
right.
see
Something
legislative
better,
something. Yeah, it's gonna be so much better. And I think they're kind of taking that from what we did in DC the last 2 years. And it's more of a legislative, like learning how to and that kind of thing. And I think that's gonna serve them and us much better. But if things continue the way they did last year, sort of all bets are off, because this last legislative session was just a good old-fashioned bar fight. So hopefully though, we'll be back to a little bit of decorum and a little bit of statesmanship this year. I expect we will with a new speaker. So we'll see, but it is something that we really all need to participate in, not just the TLN reps or whatever. It's very important.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could add, I have had some preliminary conversations with Commissioner Mills.
Okay.
And there is a desire, as there was last year, to, on those areas with all the school systems within Shelby County that agree that we partner with the county commission on those items. So we'll be in conversation, additional conversations. But she and I had a conversation to speak at the county commission a few weeks back, and there is some desire to do that and partner together.
It's a
And
great idea.
And that's big, because there's strength in numbers, no
Yeah.
matter what. And if we can and get our county commission on board with some of the things we need done, that's just icing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. All right, thank you, Dr. Biox.
Sir?
We will move ahead to the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The consent agenda passes. We'll move ahead to business recommendation items. We'll move to resolution 2019-23, the Arlington Community School Board of Education amending the 2019-20 school fee schedule. Ms. Mason.
You have before you this month's field trips that our schools will be going on. As you know, we amend this each month to attribute to the field trip for the fees that the kids may be asked to pay to go on the field trip. And so with that, you'll see the third page has those itemized. And with that, it is my recommendation to approve resolution 2019-23.
Okay, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wait a minute, do we
Do
have
we-
a motion?
We have any
Motion to approve?
Well, you gotta do a motion first. Yeah, sorry.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Keeps beating it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion passes. We'll move ahead to resolution 2019-24, granting tenure to eligible teachers.
Yes, as you recall, last month's meeting, you had a list of, I think, 15 or 16 teachers for tenure. There was another teacher that the HR department had identified, and so we actually honored her tonight. But you'll see that this resolution is a resolution awarding Miss Leanne Hinkle tenure for Arlington Community Schools. And so with that, it is my recommendation that the board pass resolution 2019-24.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Heard a motion and a second.
He is fast.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion passes. Move ahead to 2019-25.
Our next resolution is a resolution that we've been working on for a while. This in conjunction with the TLN rep as well as staff. Staff has brought items to Mr. Viox and Ms. Speakman, and with that, we have put together a draft of a recommendation for our legislative agenda. As I was looking through this after TSBA over the weekend approved theirs, of our items, 6 of those are in line with 6 of that are on TSBA's. I don't know if you've all had an opportunity to look at that. They're named something different, but the intent of them is the same. And so with that, I will turn it over to, it is my recommendation to approve. I do welcome the board to add anything, subtract anything, because this is really, once we get this approved, this will be something we'll be sharing with our county commissioners. I will start talking with our legislators now, because they are starting to draft things, and currently as we speak, I know it sounds early, but it is not.
It's not.
So with that, it is my recommendation to pass resolution 2019-25, which is Arlington Community Schools legislative agenda for 2020.
Okay, we've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Dr. Viox for making sure that I asked him to look at repeal letter grading of Tennessee schools. The Arlington Community Schools Board of Education urges the Tennessee General Assembly to repeal the AF letter grading of schools provision. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I know this year, I think it's numbers, right? or that was the past year that was numbers.
Yeah,
And then next year is gonna be going back to the AF,
It'll
which is
That's
not
right.
appropriate at all.
that's right, that's right.
Well, they did suspend it, and so, but it's coming, and it seems like the commissioner is in favor of it. So that's something we need to push for, to get rid of. That's
eliminate the
it's
AF, right.
it's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Well, I will say, it's not only the commissioner, our legislators are the one that's are really, really pushing this. I think that the commissioner would have some appetite to have more flexibility with it. But it's the legislators that have reached out to her and has informed her that they don't have the appetite for that at this time. But I agree with Ms. Williams, it's something that we need to keep on our radar. As we've talked about before, is that a single letter grade does not define a school's work.
Amen.
And it will give misrepresentation to the public, because everybody will look at one letter grade and think that defines all of the work that happens in the school, which a lot of that work is not academic work. And so with that, I think we do need to keep it on our radar. We need to keep making sure that our stakeholders know that this is important for us. And on top of that, I think it will be incumbent upon me and my staff for us to get out there ahead of this to tell our story, so that the first thing that they don't see is a letter grade and not know what that is.
Right, yeah, it's good.
I just think it's demoralizing, to students to think that their school is a failing school, and certainly to teachers and
Yeah.
the principals. I just don't even understand it, but
Well,
at any rate.
the one of the actually the scariest things is that if you'll look on this TSBA one, is the change to the accountability model.
Right.
Because part of what they want to do is change it to an N of 29 or whatever, or 30 that they have now, to an N of 10. So you could have 10 students sink your district and end up with an F grade. 10 out of 5,000. Yeah. It's such scary legislation. Unfortunately, the chairs of the education committees refuse to meet with the commissioner about that. So I don't think there's appetite for that, but it's all so interconnected. This is going to be a good year for all of us to flex our legislative muscle. It really is.
Absolutely.
And
Yes, there's some dangerous stuff out here.
And I do want to share with the board is that how these, we're not sure how they're calculated. We have not been shared with in the past. I know they've done some running on what our grades would have been, but they've not shared it with districts. But for elementary and middle, if you look at each school's report card, it's got the different areas. I think in elementary and middle, there's 4 areas. For high school, it's 9, because you have ready graduate and those kind of things. And so all those things are put together. What we have asked, that if you want to, we being superintendents, that if you want to look at each individual item and then put a letter grade on that, but to put all of those together, it would be equivalent for our kids, instead of having a grade on each subject, is just to send them home with 1 grade.
Yeah.
And so you really don't know what areas are strengths and what areas are weaknesses.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I'm glad it's part of our agenda. Any other discussion? So we'll vote now. All in favor of adopting Resolution 2019-25, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? The ayes have it, the motion passes. I will move ahead to, yeah,
Now that you pass those, we'll go ahead and put those on the card stock like you like
Yes.
and get those to you so that you can, hand them to whomever. So if you can kind of give us an idea of how many you'd like, because they're kind of expensive to produce. But if you'll tell us, send me a note, send Glenda a note, and let us know how many you want, we'll get those to you. And then we'll also send those under your name as board to the county commission, as we always do, and then also
District
to the other
99
school
also.
districts. Okay, thank you.
So, I don't know if Ms. Conley's familiar, but they put together this really cool looking thing, and it almost looks like a greeting card, right? Or like a birthday card or whatever, and it's heavy cardstock, but it really looks nice, and so you can just hand it to them, and talk about, be prepared to talk about any of the line items, but it's really a very nice thing to have to hand out to, legislators.
Yeah, and then I'll go ahead and start prior to the January session, going ahead and meeting with Representative Leatherwood and Senator Paul Rose to go ahead and give them a preview of what's important to
Right.
Arlington.
yeah, that'd be great. Good, I like this. All right, we'll move ahead to approval of textbook adoption committees. Superintendent Mason.
Yes, we are, our folks are really happy about this. We have our English and reading, our language arts, or what we refer to as our ELA, resources have been used for for several years, and it's now up for adoption. And what we have before you is a committee for each of the grade bands that will participate in selecting textbooks that are aligned and that teachers feel will best represent, are easiest for them to teach the standards. And so you have a document before you for each of the areas that will go before an adoption. You also notice that there is a parent member as well that is listed for each of those areas. Thank you to Mr. Goforth and Ms. Jamie Eldridge who works with textbooks and will be helping facilitate this process. But with that, it is my recommendation to approve the committees for each of the areas for the ACS textbook adoption for English and language arts.
Okay, for the superintendent's recommendation, do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. And that will do it for us. One
I
last,
have two
one last.
announcements.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, I was at the chamber meeting this month, and the foundation, the Education Foundation, presented Lee Mills with a check for $6,000. And of course, we're all aware of the foundation and of the 5K. I didn't see any of y'all running this year. I want to see y'all run next year. I'm the timekeeper, so
I ran so fast you didn't see me.
Well, Mr. Lamar, it is true that she's won 2 medals at that event.
That's actually true.
well, good. See you
2
next year.
medals.
Anyway, this board
I have not
contributed.
won any medals at that event.
This board contributed $500, so I want to brag on the board. We have presented sufficiently that every year since I've been here. The second announcement is, if you've seen on television, on the billboards around town, Shelby County is celebrating its 200th birthday this Sunday. And Tanya Howell is kind of the general in charge, and I'm the second lieutenant kind of helping her out. And it's from 1 to 5 at Shelby Farms, and there's going to be a tent for every town. And we are to the right of the stage, 2 tents. That's TENTS. 2 tents, 1 to 5. There's going to be industry here, Microporton, right? She's going to have some large pictures, and we're going to have some people in 1910 uniforms, like they dressed in 1910. I'm not sure how that was, but we're going to have it, about 5 or 6 people. And then we're going to have a history table. Linda Street, who knows everybody in Arlington, is going to be the person probably doing the, and I'm going to be standing there just watching. So you ought to come out 1 to 5. Should be a pretty day. Come to the Arlington tent. You can go to the rest of them, but come to the Arlington tent. Tanya has put a lot of work into this. Now the town is really sponsoring, but Tanya got it inherited from the town, and she's really worked hard. I'm just standing there helping her out. We've got some replica of some old businesses, like the Arlie Burger. There's a replica about this size. There's 10 of them, businesses. Some of them are no longer here. So it's just a little bit of history of that sort of thing. So please come out and support it from 1 to 5 this Sunday at it's right by the lake. You can enter one from Farm Road, or you can enter it from Walnut Grove. So I'll see you there this Sunday from 1 to 5.
Awesome, thank you.
Shelby Farm,
So far.
by the lake.
Christmas on the Square is this Saturday too, so just a reminder to get out and support that.
Four to
we'll have a lot of
7.
our- 4 to 7, be a lot of our students out there, a lot of good stuff going on here in town.
One more announcement.
Yep, sure.
Christmas parade, December the 7th, Pearl Harbor Day at 3 o'clock. Starts at the top of the hill and goes down Airline Road to the fire station and hangs right there, goes to the school. So show up for that. I hope the weather's pretty. It rained here a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And for the first time, the old guy military like me will be doing the flags. We have a 2.5 Army truck haul in some old guys that can't walk. And then the Army ROTC will be marching after the deuce and a half. Now, we want to separate the deuce and a half from us because we won't be in step, but they will be in step. So I'm glad that's going to happen December the 7th at 3 o'clock.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Lamar. Anything else before we adjourn? All right, do you have a motion to adjourn
So move. I beat you.
and a second? We have a motion and a second. All approved say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, none? Motion carries. We adjourn.